Happy Friday, 12 Sports. Lina Washington here, joined with Luke Lyddon, and we are following breaking news this morning.
Yes.
We're hearing that the Suns are expected to hire Frank Vogel as their next head coach. 12 Sports has confirmed that. It's reported that the deal is going to be 5 years, $30 million. So, Luke, my first question to you is your initial reaction to this.
Well, you know, it's funny. I ask people on Twitter, do you like the move? Do you love the move? Do you hate the move? And I like it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I know the Suns really needed a veteran presence as a head coach.
Yes.
Obviously, the other good head coach is already taken off the table, and Nick Nurse. I'm glad they didn't go Doc Rivers. We saw him collapse with Philly several years in a row, especially in those Game 7s. So I think it's a good hire. It'll be interesting to see how he manages the depleted roster with the Suns and what direction he takes. We know he's a defensive-minded coach. So I think he was the best coach left on the table. What do you think?
I agree. It's not a splash hire to me.
No.
It didn't excite me in the way that the Suns hiring Monty Williams did so many years ago. But congratulations to Monty Williams, who's now in Detroit.
Got that bag.
Got that bag, the highest paid coach in the NBA now. And Frank Vogel is here on a bargain compared to what Monty Williams is getting. But yes, like you mentioned, Frank Vogel is a proven coach. He's been a head coach for more than 10 years. He's taken the Indiana Pacers to the Eastern Conference Finals twice. Of course, he led the Lakers to an NBA championship in the bubble in 2020, and whatever kind of validation that means for some fans, I don't know, but the fact of the matter is he has won in this league. He has earned the top-rated defense in the league 3 times, and I know that was something that concerned Suns fans when you look at some of the final scores of the playoff run that they were just on. But it will be interesting to see how the players adjust, because for me personally, even hearing in the Monty Williams news, we know a lot of guys were Team Monty at the time. And now we're even hearing reports that Devin Booker was pushing for Suns associate head coach Kevin Young to get promoted to the head coaching position. That obviously doesn't appear to be happening, but there are reports that he could stay on Vogel's staff if he doesn't want to follow Williams to Detroit.
Yeah, and I think the reason with Young, he just doesn't have that head coaching experience, that pedigree like a Vogel does, and having won that championship, I think that does go a long way. I know it was in the bubble, and people say, our executive producer said, that doesn't count because it was in the bubble, but a championship is still a championship.
Absolutely.
Able to get the job done, something Monty Williams wasn't able to do, able to get over that hump. So. And again, great defensive-minded coach. Let the defense lead to great offense. We know we have the 2 superstars in D-Book and Kevin Durant. Hopefully they can get some good depth on that bench, some good defensive players, and someone that can make some additional buckets. We don't know the situation with D.A. and Chris Paul. We'll see what happens in the months ahead. But I like the hire. I think it was the best hire available. And, you know, let's hope the Suns can finally get over that hump.
Well, and it's almost interesting in the way that Kevin Young's trajectory could have mirrored that of Frank Vogel, where he stepped into an interim head coach position. Kevin Young did step in for a couple games when Monty Williams was ill this past season, so he does have a couple games as an interim head coach under his belt. But it was interesting. You could have seen that happen within the organization. But I think a lot of fans are also wondering, you mentioned DeAndre Ayton, what this means for his future, because his future with the team, especially under Monty Williams, which has been documented to have a bit of tension in their relationship dating back to the 2021 finals run. But people are wondering what that means for Ayton. Do we see him move?
Will he be happy?
Will he be happy? I personally think it means another clean slate for DA. He's played under numerous head coaches here in his time in Phoenix, and this is just another one that he can adjust to and see if he can utilize DA's talents to the best of his ability.
Well, you know, Devin Booker had that tweet a couple weeks ago saying 36 unbothered, obviously alluding to Kevin Durant, D-Book.
Unconfirmed,
but that's probably what it is.
All we've gotten since the end of the season, by the way, from Devin Booker.
You have not heard from that young man still after that loss. So it'll be interesting to see how they gel with Frank Vogel. I don't have any concerns about it. Obviously, it's an interesting parallel because you have Anthony Davis and LeBron James. Vogel led them to the championship.
He knows how to utilize big men.
And now he has 2 other big stars in Durant and D-Book. So hopefully they can repeat that type of performance that they saw in 2020. But, you know, I'm excited to see what happens. I know the fans might not be oohing and awing over this hire. But, again, you think about the remaining coaches on the slate. There wasn't much to choose from. Vogel has a good resume. Defensive-minded coach. We all know the cliche, defense wins championships. And I'm excited to interview the man and see what he thinks he can bring to the Valley.
Yes, and we're hearing that we could see an introduction in the coming days. It is a Friday afternoon here in Phoenix, so we'll see when that announcement comes, and we'll, of course, bring you the latest on air and online.
But really quickly, what is your thought of the hire? Do you like it, love it, in between? I know it's still early, but what are your thoughts on it?
I'm in between. I got to be honest, it didn't move me in the way that Monty Williams' hiring moved me. I was in Sacramento at the time. They were looking for a head coach with the Kings. They hired Luke Walton, and when the Suns got Monty, I was disappointed because I thought Monty could have done something with that group then, and we see what he was able to do with this group in Phoenix. And we'll see if Frank Vogel can get them beyond the finals to the first championship here in the Valley. Obviously, he's been there, done that. He has the pedigree. He came up through the Eastern Conference and as an associate head coach, assistant coach and associate head coach with Indiana and Boston and Philadelphia as well. So again, he has that experience. He's moved his way up throughout the NBA in the last 20 years or so. So it's going to be very interesting to see how the players adjust and buy in and how this roster looks in a matter of weeks or months.
And I wonder how much more pressure this puts on the franchise. Okay, so you got rid of Monty Williams. Some people loved the move. Some people hated the move. I see both sides. You bring in Frank Vogel. You gave away so many draft picks to get KD, all that draft capital, et cetera, et cetera. So now I think the pressure's on, but I know Vogel has dealt with pressure before with the Pacers, with the Lakers.
Well, playing in LA,
right,
of course.
playing in LA.
No
so
bigger microscope that you're under.
And he was able to manage those expectations, so I don't think he'll be blinded by the lights or the extra pressure. But fan base, you got to be patient, but at the same time, you can't really be patient. You only have the window's only so big.
Absolutely.
So if they don't get a championship in the next 2 years, do you think it's a bad move? I almost think it is, because expectations are pretty high right now.
I think it would be easier to define that or to make a statement for me when I see what Monty does in Detroit, because I wasn't thrilled with the firing. I understand where Matt Ishbia in the front office was coming from, given the way that the last 2 seasons have ended. But at the end of the day, he did take them to the finals. He's won Coach of the Year. He led them to a record-setting regular season franchise record.
A lot of accolades.
A lot of accolades. But again, it's not about what you did. It's about what have you done and what will you do in sports, especially in coaching. So we'll see in 2 years, like you said, if this ends up paying off. But Matt Ishbia, the new owner, is coming in hot. I mean, he was introduced at 10 a.m. in
Kevin Durant, the next
day. Kevin Durant was traded by 10 p.m. Obviously, the Nikola Jokic exchange during the playoff run with the Suns. So he's definitely making a name for himself here in the Valley and nationally as well, which for Suns fans and people who grew up in the Valley, the Suns didn't get a lot of national attention for the last 10 years.
So I think, to wrap this up, I think they're in a good spot. I think it's a good hire. We have to see what happens, obviously, in the coming weeks and months ahead and how the team gels. It'll be interesting to keep an eye on DA.
Yes.
How does he mesh with the new head coach? Will CP3 still be on the roster? We know they got to make a decision soon in terms of that contract and the guaranteed money becoming much larger by the certain date. I forget the date, but I know it's sometime in June. So.
And the staffing. Monty did have a very proven, experienced staff here, and who stays on board, who goes somewhere else, remains to be seen.
I'm excited. I can't wait. Go Suns.
It's always something happening here in the Valley. There's no off season for us. Of course, we will be expounding on this on Sunday night on 12 Sports tonight at 10:30. So join us then if you can. Otherwise, you can follow us on Twitter, @WashingtonTV, Luke_Lyddon. And we'll see you back here next time as we continue to cover the Suns here in the Phoenix.